It's time to focus on you, ladies and gentlemen. There comes a moment in every person's life when the noise of the world must be silenced, when the opinions of others must be ignored, when the distractions, the delays, and the doubts must be shut out, because it's time to focus on you. You were not born to be a background character in someone else's story. You were not placed on this earth to merely survive, to blend in, or to please the masses. You were born with purpose, with power, with the capacity to shape your own destiny, but too often we hand over the pen of our life story to others, to fear, to failure, to society's expectations. We forget the truth. You are the author, the architect, the captain of your fate. Let me tell you something that may shake your soul. The life you're dreaming of is not waiting for you. It's waiting on you. You cannot build an extraordinary life while living to satisfy ordinary expectations. You cannot walk into greatness carrying the weight of everyone else's judgment. It's time, long past time, to redirect that energy, that attention, that intention back to you, because you matter, your dreams matter. Your inner peace matters, your growth, your success, your purpose. They all begin when you decide, I'm done living for them and I'm ready to live for me. Here are 8 advices to focus on you. Advice #1: prioritize your peace, eliminate what drains you. Protect your mental space like a sacred temple. If it costs you your peace, it's too expensive. Advice #2: set boundaries without apology. People may not like it, but your boundaries are the walls that protect your purpose. Advice #3: define your own success. Don't let society dictate your value. What does success feel like to you? Chase that. Advice #4: eliminate distractions ruthlessly. If it doesn't move you forward, it's holding you back. You don't have time for maybes and someday. Advice #5: invest in your growth. Read, learn, heal, challenge your beliefs, upgrade your habits. The best investment you'll ever make is in you. Advice #6: surround yourself with winners. If you're the smartest or most motivated person in the room, you're in the wrong room. Advice #7: listen to your inner voice. There's a whisper inside you. It's called truth. Start listening to it more than you listen to the noise outside. Advice #8: take relentless, daily action. Focus isn't passive. Focus is aggressive. Focus means saying no 100 times so you can say yes to your highest self. Prioritize your peace. Peace of mind is not a luxury. It is not a side effect of success. It is the foundation upon which all lasting success is built. Without peace, there can be no focus, no clarity, no true purpose. And yet, far too many trade their peace away cheaply, for approval, for comfort, for the illusion of safety in the opinions of others. The first step toward self-mastery is the recognition that you alone are the gatekeeper of your mind, and what enters that sacred space, be it thoughts, emotions, influences, or relationships, must be carefully chosen. The same way a wise ruler guards the gates of their kingdom, so too must you protect the inner sanctum of your mind from negativity, noise, and nonsense. Every great transformation begins within, in silence, in solitude, in deliberate reflection. Peace is the soil in which all greatness takes root. A restless mind cannot build empires. A chaotic heart cannot create clarity. You must command peace before you can command power. Understand this. The world will constantly try to rent space in your mind, through fear, through gossip, through drama and distraction. But the rent is high, and the price you pay is your focus, your energy, your growth. You must make a decision who and what gets access to you. Ask yourself, does this thought serve me? Does this person uplift or drain me? Does this environment energize my vision or suffocate it? To prioritize your peace is not to retreat from life. It is to step into it with strength. It is to remove what is unworthy, what is untrue, what is unaligned, so you can finally hear your own voice and follow it without hesitation. Because when your mind is still, when your heart is quiet, a power begins to rise, a knowing, a certainty, a deep inner fire that cannot be extinguished by the world outside. And once that inner fire begins to rise, something extraordinary happens. you begin to move differently. You speak with clarity, not confusion. You act with purpose, not panic. You choose your path, not based on pressure, but on power. Peace is not passive. It is a conscious act of self-respect. It is the deliberate refusal to be dragged into chaos that does not belong to you. It is a declaration that says, I am no longer available for drama. I am no longer tolerating energy that disturbs my alignment. I am no longer dimming my light just to keep others comfortable. There will be those who won't understand. People will question you. Some may even call you selfish. Let them. That is their noise. But here's the truth. When you protect your peace, you protect your potential, and no one who has truly achieved greatness has done so while being enslaved by the turmoil of the world. Look around. The most powerful, the most disciplined, the most accomplished. What do they all have in common? They control their environment. They don't let their day get hijacked by gossip, or their minds poisoned by critics. They have learned the sacred art of disconnecting from the storm to strengthen the self. You must begin to view your peace not as an option, but as a requirement for your evolution. Start your day in silence. End it in gratitude. Guard your inputs. Be ruthless with what you consume, because every word, every image, every conversation you allow in is either building you or breaking you. Let this become your new standard. If it costs me my peace, it is too expensive. And that includes relationships, habits, commitments, and even versions of yourself that you've outgrown. You don't owe anyone access to your mind. You don't owe the world an explanation for choosing calm over chaos. You owe yourself everything, your growth, your joy, your freedom, and it all begins by drawing a line in the sand and saying, this is sacred ground. My peace is my power, and I will protect it with unwavering conviction. Because when the mind is clear, the vision sharpens. When the heart is calm, courage emerges, and when peace becomes your standard, nothing and no one can shake your foundation. Set boundaries without apology. Power is not always loud. Sometimes power is quiet. It is the calm, immovable strength of a person who has learned to say no, and say it without guilt. Boundaries are not barriers to love, connection, or opportunity. No, boundaries are the blueprints of self-respect. They are the invisible lines drawn by individuals who have discovered their worth and who no longer entertain that which undermines it. You cannot reach your potential while living at the mercy of others' expectations. You cannot pursue your vision if you're constantly pulled into distractions, obligations, and toxic cycles that deplete your energy. You were not created to be a convenience for others. You were created to build, to rise, to fulfill a unique and powerful purpose, and that requires space. That requires protection. That requires boundaries. Some will call your boundaries selfish. Let them. Those who benefit from your lack of limits will always resent the moment you find your voice, but you must rise above the noise. For no one can guard your time, your energy, your emotional well-being like you can. You must become the gatekeeper of your own life, because every time you say yes to what doesn't serve you, you are saying no to your future. And make no mistake, your future is listening. Consider this truth: no empire was ever built without walls to protect it. Your vision is your empire, your energy is the currency, and your boundaries, your unapologetic, non-negotiable standards, are what keep that empire from being looted by the demands of the unworthy. A person with weak boundaries lives in reaction. A person with strong boundaries lives in design. The first is a victim of circumstance. The second is the author of destiny. Look around your life and ask, who constantly oversteps, what habits or people are costing me time, peace, or progress? Where have I been silent when I should have stood firm? To set a boundary is not to be cruel. It is to be clear. Clarity is kindness to both yourself and others. It teaches the world how to treat you. It removes confusion. It purifies your environment. And it gives you the greatest gift of all, alignment, a life where your values match your choices and your actions mirror your truth. Boundaries are forged in the furnace of self-respect. They are declared, not explained, enforced, not begged for, and they are always met with resistance from those who have grown comfortable taking more than they give. That is not your concern. Your concern is your calling, because until you learn to protect your energy, you will keep leaking your purpose. Until you decide that your time is sacred, it will be wasted on the trivial, and until you stand tall and say, "This is where I end and the world begins," you will remain a servant to someone else's agenda. Define your own success. There is no greater tragedy than a person who climbs the ladder of life, only to reach the top and discover it was leaning against the wrong wall. You see, most people are not living their dreams. They are living someone else's definition of success. They chase titles they do not want, money they cannot enjoy, approval from people they do not even respect, because somewhere along the way they were told what success should look like. But true success, real, lasting soul, deep success is never handed down from the world. It is designed from within. It is born in the quiet corners of your heart, where no one else has access. It is built by aligning your actions with your values, not with trends, not with applause, not with imitation. Until you define success for yourself, you will continue to chase shadows. You will measure your worth by someone else's yardstick, and every step forward will feel hollow because it was never your path to begin with. You must dare to ask, what does success feel like to me? Where do I feel most alive, most true, most powerful? Am I chasing something because I desire it, or because I was told I should? The masses are conditioned to believe that success is external, a house, a car, a certain lifestyle, but these are only the byproducts of success, not the essence. The essence of success is freedom, freedom to choose your path, freedom to express your truth, freedom to create on your terms, live on your time, and walk your own road with certainty and conviction. You must define success in a way that aligns with your purpose, not your ego. Because the ego is never satisfied, it always wants more, but the soul seeks meaning, it seeks impact, it seeks contribution, fulfillment, joy, not just accumulation. The moment you decide to define success for yourself, you reclaim your power. You stop chasing and begin building. You stop competing and begin creating. And in that shift, something remarkable happens. Life begins to respond to the clarity of your intention. Your vision becomes magnetic. Your steps become deliberate, and your energy stops scattering in 1,000 directions, because now it has a target, a true north, a personal definition of greatness that is not for sale, not for show, and not up for negotiation. And let it be known, the world will resist this. The world thrives on comparison. It wants you to measure yourself against your neighbor, your peer, the stranger online, but comparison is the enemy of peace and the assassin of personal progress. You must become immune to it. You must build a life so deeply rooted in your own truth that the noise outside cannot shake it. You must realize that real success is quiet. It is not always glamorous. It is not always visible, but it is deeply satisfying because it is yours, yours to shape, yours to pursue, yours to own. And understand this, when you define success for yourself, you must also be willing to walk alone, at least for a while. Why? Because the path to your version of success will rarely look like the one followed by the masses. It won't always come with applause. It won't always be understood. There will be times when your choices confuse others, when your pace seems too slow, your dreams too strange, your methods too bold. But this is not the time to fold. It is the time to stand firm. Because the moment you abandon your definition of success to fit into someone else's mold, you abandon the very essence of your calling. You trade your authenticity for approval, and approval is a currency that devalues the soul. The ones who rise to greatness, the real kind, the enduring kind, are those who refuse to conform. They are builders of their own world, not tenants in someone else's, and their success, though different, speaks louder than conformity ever could. It echoes in the lives they touch, the legacy they leave, and the peace they possess in their hearts. You must stop asking for permission to live on your own terms. Stop seeking validation for the vision that was given to you, not to them. The moment you stop needing the world to approve your dream is the moment you gain the power to pursue it relentlessly. And here is the paradox of success. When you chase what's true for you, not what's expected, not what's popular, but what's aligned, you often end up with more than you ever imagined, because clarity creates momentum. Purpose ignites persistence, and authenticity draws the right people, the right opportunities, the right timing. But none of this begins until you say, "This is what success looks like for me, and I will build it, even if no one claps, even if no one understands, even if I must walk through the fire to claim it." Because you will never be fulfilled trying to live someone else's dream. You will never feel powerful while chasing something that doesn't resonate with your spirit. And you will never unlock your full potential while wearing a mask for the world. So today, you must decide, are you willing to trade being impressive for being authentic? Are you brave enough to disappoint others in order to be true to yourself? Are you ready to define success not by how it looks, but by how it feels? When you are, you will find something far greater than riches or recognition. You will find alignment, and alignment is the highest form of success a person can achieve. Eliminate distractions ruthlessly. There is no shortage of talent in this world, no shortage of ambition, ideas, or dreams. But there is a massive shortage of focus, and that, more than anything, is what separates the successful from the stagnant. Distraction is the silent killer of destiny. It does not strike with force, it seduces with comfort. It whispers that you can scroll a little longer, delay your goals another day, answer one more meaningless call, engage in one more pointless debate, but what it truly does is steal your future one wasted moment at a time. Every second you spend distracted is a second stolen from the work that matters, from the dream that burns within you, from the life you say you want. And if you're not careful, you'll wake up one day with a mind full of regret and a heart heavy with what could have been. You must become absolutely ruthless when it comes to guarding your attention, because your attention is the gateway to your energy, and your energy is the force that builds your results. If your focus is fractured, your progress will be too. Look around at the world today. It is engineered for distraction, designed to keep you entertained, not empowered, comfortable, not committed, plugged in, but tuned out of your own potential. If you do not take control of your time, something or someone else will. To eliminate distraction is to declare war on mediocrity. It is to take full ownership of every hour, every decision, every thought. It is to build a fortress around your goals and refuse entry to anything that does not serve them. Ask yourself this: what is stealing my focus? What am I allowing into my day that does nothing to move me forward? What comfort have I made peace with that's costing me the future I deserve, and then cut it? Not tomorrow, not when it's convenient. Now, cut the scrolling, cut the gossip, cut the notifications, cut the people who drain your mind with meaningless drama, cut the habits that pretend to soothe you but secretly sabotage you. Every distraction removed is a step toward power reclaimed. This requires discipline, not the kind that is forced by fear, but the kind that is fueled by vision, because once you truly grasp what your life could become, once you glimpse the extraordinary power that lies dormant within you, distractions begin to look like insults. They are no longer harmless. They are no longer innocent. They are obstacles to your greatness. The most dangerous distractions are not the obvious ones. They are the small, habitual compromises. The just 5 minutes that become hours, the I'll start tomorrow that becomes never, the people you keep around just to be nice, even though they cost you clarity, confidence, and momentum. But you were not born to live a diluted life. You were born to pursue something real, something rare, something remarkable, and that requires sacrifice. It requires choosing purpose over pleasure, mastery over mediocrity, the long game over instant gratification. Because here is a truth that few are willing to face. Success is not hard. It's just hidden beneath everything that doesn't matter. When you clear the clutter, your path appears. When you eliminate the noise, your voice strengthens. When you cut what's irrelevant, what's essential begins to rise. Reconnect with your inner voice buried beneath the noise of the world, beneath the opinions of others, the pressures of conformity, the endless distractions and expectations. Their lives a voice, a quiet voice, a powerful voice, your inner voice, and until you reconnect with it, nothing you chase will ever satisfy you, because everything outside of you is temporary, but what lives within you, that is eternal. Your inner voice is not loud, it does not beg, it does not scream for attention like the chaos around you. It whispers, it nudges, it guides, and when you ignore it, you feel it, not in your mind, but in your soul. A sense of restlessness, a knowing that something is off, a quiet ache that no external achievement can heal. The tragedy is that most people have silenced this voice. They've traded it for the approval of the crowd, for the illusion of security, for a life that looks right but feels wrong. They stopped listening long ago, and now they wonder why they feel lost. But here's the truth: you are not lost, you are just disconnected from yourself. To find your way again, you don't need more advice, you don't need more noise, you need to return to silence, because clarity doesn't come from the outside. It comes from within. The answers you seek are not out there. They are already inside you, waiting for the world to quiet down so they can be heard. You must create space to hear your inner voice again, and that means stepping away from the noise, social media, shallow conversations, mindless consumption, and stepping into solitude, into reflection, into stillness. It is in the stillness that truth emerges. It is in the stillness that you remember who you are, not who the world told you to be, not who you've pretended to be, but who you were before fear took over. Before you learned to doubt your instincts, before you forgot your own power. The inner voice is your compass. It will not always lead you down the easiest path, but it will always lead you down the right one. It does not speak in excuses, it speaks in purpose, it speaks in boldness, it speaks in conviction, but you must learn to trust it again, to follow it, even when it feels uncertain, even when others question you, even when the path is lonely, because the moment you begin to listen, truly listen, a shift occurs, your decisions become aligned, your energy becomes focused, and your life begins to reflect your truth, not your fears. This is the kind of power no one can give you, and no one can take away. It is not found in titles, possessions, or applause. It is found in the deepest part of you, and once you awaken it, you can never go back to living a life of quiet resignation. Own your time like it's gold. Time is the one asset you can never earn back. You can recover money, you can rebuild reputation, you can even restore health with enough discipline, but time, once it is gone forever. And yet look around. People guard their wallets with fury, but give away their time like it's worthless. They say yes to everything. They surrender hours to distractions. They live in constant reaction instead of intentional action. Not because they don't care, but because they haven't yet understood this simple, unbreakable truth. Your time is your life. How you spend your minutes is how you build your legacy. What you give your hours to, that becomes your destiny. If you waste an hour, you haven't just lost 60 minutes. You've traded a piece of your potential. You've handed over a portion of your dream to something that didn't deserve it. And if you do that long enough, your life becomes a reflection of what you tolerated instead of what you intended. You must begin to treat your time like gold, not because others will, but because your future demands it. You must place the highest value on your schedule, your calendar, your boundaries, because until you master your time, you will always be a servant to someone else's priorities. Stop telling yourself you don't have time. You do. You're just giving it away to things that do not move the needle. You're spending it on people who don't deserve front row seats to your life. You're using it to escape discomfort rather than to build discipline. The people who rise, who lead, who create lasting impact, they don't have more time than you. They have more clarity, more intention, more control. They know what matters, and they don't apologize for protecting it. Look closely at your life. Who is stealing your time with meaningless requests? What habits are draining hours from your day without return? What emergencies are constantly pulling you away from your mission? And most importantly, what have you postponed, delayed, or avoided that your future self is begging you to begin? There is no success without time ownership. There is no greatness without fierce commitment to focus. There is no fulfilled life built on procrastination and distraction. You must become a guardian of your hours. You must learn to say no without guilt, to schedule your purpose like it's sacred, to rise before the noise, to work before the world asks for your attention, to master your morning so that the day bends to your will, not the other way around, because time does not wait. It does not care how tired you are. It does not care how busy you feel. It keeps moving, and every moment you waste in delay, indecision, or fear is a moment someone else is using to build the life you claim to want. This is not a game of chance. It is a game of choices. And those who win it, they don't get lucky. They get serious, serious about their hours, serious about their boundaries, serious about owning every tick of the clock before it runs out. Break free from approval addiction. There is no prison more invisible and more suffocating than the need to be liked. It is the silent trap that keeps powerful men and women living small. It is the chain that binds brilliant minds to mediocrity. And it is the slow poison that robs creators, leaders, and visionaries of their boldest work. Because when your life is governed by the need for approval, you become a slave to other people's opinions. You shrink your voice, you water down your vision, you compromise your truth just to avoid disapproval, and what do you receive in return? Temporary praise, shallow validation, fleeting acceptance, at the cost of your own identity. This is the addiction no one talks about, the addiction to being liked, the obsession with being agreeable, acceptable, digestible to the masses. But greatness was never born from agreement, and legacy was never built on fitting in. You must make a decision. Do you want to be admired by everyone or respected by the right ones? Do you want to be liked in the moment or remembered for your boldness? Because you cannot have both. Every time you betray your intuition to gain someone's approval, you lose something far greater, your power. You begin to live outside of yourself. You become a performer on someone else's stage, acting out a version of you they accept, instead of the one you were born to be. Freedom begins when you stop needing permission. Peace begins when you stop begging for validation. Power begins when you look in the mirror and say, I approve of me, and that is enough. Think of every revolutionary, every visionary, every person who ever changed the world in any meaningful way. They all had to walk through the fire of rejection. They all had to be misunderstood, criticized, labeled, attacked. And they all made the same decision. My mission is more important than your comfort. This is the moment you must make that decision for yourself, to reclaim your voice, to say what you mean, to do what feels true. To live as the fullest, most authentic version of who you are, even if it shakes the room. Yes, people will judge you. Let them. Yes, people will walk away. Let them. Not everyone deserves access to the real you. Because here's the secret. When you stop chasing approval, you attract respect. When you stop needing everyone to understand you, You become magnetic to those who truly align with your vision. When you break free from the addiction of applause, you unlock the ability to do your deepest, most meaningful work. Without compromise, approval is a moving target. One day they praise you, the next they criticize. But your purpose, your truth, your soul's mission, that doesn't change with the wind. It stands firm, it waits patiently, and it grows louder every time you choose it over performance, over people, pleasing over fear. Become the CEO of your life. If your life were a business, would you invest in it? Would you bet everything on its leadership, its direction, its performance? Here's the truth most never confront. You are the CEO of your life. You are not just a passenger. You are not an employee in your own story. You are the one responsible for every decision, every direction, every result. But until you claim that role, fully and unapologetically, your life will continue to be shaped by chance, not by choice. A true CEO doesn't wait to be told what to do. A true CEO doesn't wait for permission to act. A true CEO doesn't blame the economy, the critics, or the market. They take charge, they analyze, they adapt. They lead. Likewise, if your life is stuck, if your vision is unclear, if your results are inconsistent, it's not the world, your past, or your circumstances to blame. It's the leadership at the top. It's the person in the mirror. You must begin to look at your time, your habits, your relationships, your finances, your energy, your focus, as your personal empire, because every empire falls or rises based on who is running it. If you don't lead your life with vision, you will be led by distraction. If you don't control your environment will control you. If you don't decide your standards, the world will lower them for you. A CEO does not allow chaos to rule the boardroom. So why do you allow chaos to run your mornings? Why do you negotiate with your goals? Why do you delay your dreams waiting for someone else to believe in them first? You need to stop waiting for someone to give you a shot. You are the shot. You are the brand, the product, the visionary, and the driver. No one is coming to rescue your ambition. No one is coming to manage your potential. That job belongs to you, and only you. What would happen if you began showing up each day as the executive of your destiny? If you scheduled your time like $1 million enterprise, if you filtered every decision through your long-term mission instead of short-term comfort, if you refused to tolerate anything that didn't meet the standards of excellence you were born to live by, because that's what a leader does. They don't hope for better days, they build them. They don't react to pressure, they operate under pressure. They don't beg for opportunity, they create opportunity. You don't need more motivation, you need responsibility. You don't need more comfort, you need clarity and command. Your future will not arrive by accident, it will arrive by strategy, by discipline, by decisions made daily by the leader within you. So ask yourself, if I were running my life like a world-class organization, what would I change today? What inefficiencies would I cut? What standards would I raise? What habits would I enforce like non-negotiable law? Because until you start running your life with the seriousness and strength of a CEO, you will keep drifting through days, mistaking motion for progress, busyness for building, survival for success. This is not about being selfish. This is about becoming self-full, because when you rise, you bring others with you. When you shine, you give permission for others to shine too. So today, make a decision. Not a wish, not a hope, not a maybe, a decision that from this moment forward you're done playing small. You're done explaining yourself. You're done waiting for the right time, because the right time is now. It's time to focus on you, and when you do, the world will have no choice but to adjust to your greatness.